Coming soon to Broadway or a theater near you, accused CEO assassin Luigi Mangione is getting his own musical, and get this, it's already sold out. That's Luigi the Musical, set to premiere at the Taylor Street Theater in San Francisco in June.
The musical is being dubbed, quote, a story of love, murder, and hash browns. You know those McDonald's hash browns he got. It promises a bold, campy, and unafraid perspective on Mangione's life. Some special guests are also set to take the stage. The musical includes characters of Mangione's fellow jailmates, including convicted crypto fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried and accused sex trafficker and disgraced hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. And users are sounding off about this on X. Journalist Lauren Conlon says, quote, Luigi Mangione musical set to debut in San Francisco next month, and the entire run is already sold out. I hate everyone. Goodbye.
The Chris Plant Show saying, the left loves murder. Okay, I do have some thoughts here. First of all, I don't know what the content of the musical is going to be. So I don't want to criticize it without engaging with it. It could be that it is critical of the Luigi Mangione perspective, which is that murdering people because you don't agree with healthcare politics is good. I certainly hope it would attack that perspective, or at least, you know, if it's a love letter to Luigi Mangione, which is a concerning thing and could very well be the case, as there are clearly lots of people, lots of women, it seems, you know, admiring, idolizing this alleged accused murderer, which I think is just awful, and frankly reminds me of, you know, the way there were people who wanted to marry, you know, Charles Manson or whatever. Like, people are sick in the head. Fine, I don't care. It could be a subject for a musical or performance that interrogates that perspective and that fandom in a way that is thoughtful and interesting. So I'm not saying it shouldn't be made or there's something bad with it without having seen it or known what it's in. Now, I'm not likely to see it because I hate musicals. But what are your thoughts?
First of all, obviously condoning violence in every single way. But I think it's important to understand that the public has this fascination with crime. As somebody who understands like licensing with our production company, like crime is the most bought type of programming for Americans. So don't paint this as a leftist issue. This is, and not to you, to everyone who maybe said those were his fans of Luigi. I think it's just an America obsession with
people
crime.
People are fascinated by
stories.
Killers, crimes, yes.
And I think that the time, I have to stay consistent. So if Trump's AI post was too soon for the Pope and Catholics, then I think a musical, whether it's a satire or whatever, because that's what I read, that it was a satire, I think it's too soon when this man who was shot, the UnitedHealthcare CEO, has two daughters that are still living, and it's still too soon, right? Especially when there's no verdict in the case. Now, we've seen a lot of shows and musicals, like art, get created, you know, out of O.J. Simpson or big trials like this. But at least I think let it follow through. People always want to be first to make the production, first to do the thing. And I think it's important to have some type of empathy for people that lost someone and understand this is a real situation. So while I totally get the fascination, because it is crazy. I mean, as somebody who grew up in New York, somebody getting shot in the middle of Manhattan is actually the most ridiculous thing, or one of, that I've ever read in a news report. It just seems like it can't happen with all the different police
usually they'd
outside.
Be punched or stabbed instead.
Well, New York is not the safest place in the world, but getting shot in the middle of Midtown is a little bit wild.
Yeah. Well, so, from a premeditated assassination.
Right. The fact that it followed all the way through to fruition is wild. Right. And so I understand why people are
People kill each other in anger. Crazy people kill each other. Premeditated, planned out, you know, murder, mystery style murder, although it's not a mystery at all because it was on camera. Right. Is not super common. It is not there's plenty of violence in our society. It is not the common kind of violence. Also with a semi-political motivation. Now, I don't want to discount the fact that Luigi Mangione might very well be crazy or suffering from some other delusion, or, you know, usually it's a mix of crazy and not crazy, or clear-eyed about doing it. And you know, not every... Yeah, actually, as you were talking about this, you're reminding me, O.J. Simpson, there's been so much media made about that. On Netflix, there was like the Dahmer one. That was not an endorsement of killing, raping, and eating people. It was just because, yes, we are fascinated by crime, and so you can portray something without endorsing it at all. So I don't want to say this is an endorsement without knowing what it is, but it may be an endorsement because there's a fandom for this guy that I find absolutely both baffling and insane. I mean, maybe not baffling because people are just crazy, but
I think there's also another level that some Americans were really looking for reform of our current healthcare systems. And so while people who understand businesses understand that a CEO is not where it solely lies to change the makeup of an entire corporation, and so that was wrong, like I said, flat out, no other words around that, I think people still want to unpack what may be wrong with our healthcare system and why somebody may have been riled up, because UnitedHealthcare, reports started coming out right after this murder, again, not tying it to, but that many people were denied, lost their family. And so healthcare is really tied to personal last moments of people's lives. And I think that's an important thing that's going to be examined more and more, especially as we distance ourselves from the actual incident.
Right. No one's responding to all this and saying, oh, the healthcare system is just great. There's frustration, bipartisan, all across the board, liberals, conservatives, everybody. So it's not that the system itself is like worth defending or can't be reformed, but of course it goes without saying that premeditated violence is not the way to fix the system, is not going to do anything to change the system, and is frankly wrong even if it was going to do something to change the system.
So we need to start watching better programming as Americans, and that musical is sold out, by the way, so obviously there's a huge appetite to see this right now, which is also fascinating to me.
Not by me, but by some people. That does it for us today on Rising. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Lindsey's on all week.
Yeah, I'm here all week with you guys. Thanks for having me.
See you tomorrow.